So, welcome everyone again to Sunday sessions, and we have been continuing with the psychic education. The main book that we have been following is this psychic education workbook, which I had shared with everyone. I think I shared a PDF with everyone. So, mostly we are following this for the psychic education part, and from time to time, we keep on listening to some teachings also. So, currently, we were exploring surrender and so, according to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, a true surrender. So, usually we take surrender in a sense that I am surrendered to the divine, and only divine will do whatever is necessary. So, it's like a passivity that we take, mostly associate with surrender. But Mother says that true surrender is a very alive surrender. It's a very active surrender. And passivity, just like putting your arms down, putting your actions down, just to say that divine will do all, is passivity, is not surrender. That's lethargy, tamas, and inertia. And Sri Aurobindo says active surrender is when you associate your will to the divine will, reject what is not divine, and assent to what is the divine. So I think all of us would understand that whenever we are able to look at our thoughts, impulsions, and like a thought is coming, an opinion is coming, whenever we can see them arising, we very well know whether it is divine or anti-divine, whether it is coming from egoistic state of consciousness or whether it is coming from really truly benefiting myself and others. We all know that. But in our unconsciousness, when we don't notice that thought arising, when we don't notice the opinion arising, some ripple arising in our being, in our unconsciousness, we follow the dictates of our old habits and tendencies. So that is why it's the stress is laid on becoming more and more conscious of our inner movements, so that we can reject what is not divine, and we can accent to, okay, this seems nice, this will benefit me and this will also benefit the other person, so I will follow this impulsion, or a thought or a feeling. So this active process has been called as surrender, true surrender by the Mother. That you become conscious of your impulsions, thoughts, feelings, sensations, opinions, ideas in the mind. And when you see them arising, you are very well able to say which one is divine, which one is benefiting, and which one will be coming from a very selfish, arrogant center. So that's the power of consciousness. Yeah, hi Ekta. So we just we have been continuing with these sessions, and at the moment we are exploring surrender. So today we'll be listening to some teachings on surrender and something by Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So Mother says that surrender does not mean that you are abandoning your will, that I don't know what I want totally. No, like totally blank. That doesn't mean surrender. Mother says you can hasten the realization by lending your will to the divine will. That too is surrender in another form. What is required of you is not a passive surrender in which you become like a block, but to put your will at the disposal of divine will. So, how to practically practice it? I think one of the ways in which we can explore this is that we have inherent, we have innate likings, non-likings, preferences. This is what I like, this is what I don't like. We have those, and many a times when we have to make decisions, you know that you are biased towards a particular decision in your life. So there is a group decision to be taken, but what your point of view is, you realize that it's a biased one. I know that I am kind of inclined towards left or right side. And when we become conscious of that bias, can we just surrender it at the divine feet? That's how we do it practically. So I know I have an opinion, I know I have an idea about whatever should be done, the right decision should be taken, but how can I know that's the divine will or not? So I become conscious of that idea or decision to be taken, and I put it to inwardly, I offer it to the Mother, for example. I say this is what I feel should be done, but since I don't know and I can never know what is the larger plan, so up to you. So it doesn't mean that you can't have preferences, you can't have likings or non-likings. Definitely we can have, but also knowing parallelly that we rarely see the larger picture, and hence we don't know what's the best for me. So can I just offer it to the mother and let mother take it in whichever way. So you have put your will also, but you are giving it to the divine will. You are offering it to the divine field. So that's one way of practically talking about it. So keep sharing if you have any question, any reflection. So here again, words of the mother. Mother says that you have a will, you have a will, you have a something, opinion or idea, whatever to be done. You have a will, and you can offer that will. Take example of becoming conscious of your nights. If you take the attitude of passive surrender, you would say when it is divine will that I should be conscious, then I shall be conscious. So you're not doing any effort to become conscious of your nights. You say, okay, whenever Bhagwan wants, divine wants, then I will naturally become conscious of my nights. On the other hand, if you offer your will to the divine will, that you purify, you sanctify your will, that mother, this is what I am looking forward to, that I become conscious of my dreams and I become conscious of my nights. So what you do is that you consciously offer it to the higher. You begin to will and you say, I will become conscious of my nights. So the effort also is required of you. You're putting the effort. You have the will that it should be done, and you do not sit down idle and wait. Because divine works through our hands, divine works through our intellect. So if I say I'm not going to use my hands and intellect, then how would the divine be working? So personal effort, mother says, is very important and required. Yeah, and these are a few mantras by the mother we can keep on chanting if we resonate with. Let thy will be done and not mine. You know which is the best way forward, and my opinions, ideas don't matter in front of that. Let thy will be done and not mine. As thou willest, as thou willest. So this is something we can inwardly, kind of a mantra, like a chant. And I am thine for eternity. So again, there is an offering or self-giving to the divine. That to stop living for our little selfish agendas and to offer ourselves for the divine work. And each one of us, I think this is very important to understand, that each one of us has this possibility of offering yourself to the divine. In any, mother says that in any little way. So it's not that if I am a housewife, how do I offer myself? We have, in very little possibilities, we have the possibility of, in whatever circumstances we can offer ourselves again and again to this existence, and stop living for our own selfish needs and expectations and demands, because there is no end to it. So that possibility is existing for each one of us. It's not only for a few individuals that this is possible. So I thought we'll just kind of collaborate with a couple of other teachings also, take them on board. And there is this teaching by Rupert Spira on surrender, which I thought was very beautiful. We'll listen to that and just play it for all of us. So I'm just putting it on. I hope everyone can hear and watch properly. Yeah.
Surrender to all or everything mean? And if there's some relevance of truth, maybe you could elaborate on that and maybe flags, some pointers to what it means to surrender to all, because not that it's scary to me, but from the way I've been raised, surrendering is somewhat foreign, you know what I mean?
It's not really the surrendering to everything, but rather the surrendering of everything. Not that that's going to be very comforting for you. But the surrendering of everything is not, it's often misunderstood. It's not something that the mind has to do. The mind, as you rightly imply, is going to have a horrible time trying to surrender. It's more a question of seeing that space of awareness in which our experience appears is already letting every appearance go moment by moment. Awareness never holds on to a thought, a sensation, or a perception. So that awareness's natural condition is to be totally surrendered. It's not something we have to try to achieve with the mind. That would be a real battle. It's more a question of just noticing in our experience that awareness, the space in which all appearances and all experience arises, is already letting everything go. Take the sound of the plane, for instance. As the sound vanishes, does awareness make any effort to hold on to it? What about the current thought, or the current feeling, or the current perception? Awareness is already letting go of everything, allowing everything and simultaneously letting it go. So if we first see that, and then feel that, and then begin to take our stand as that, then we just naturally find ourselves letting objects, situations, circumstances, relationships that we would previously have wanted to hold very tightly to, we find ourselves just naturally letting them go more easily. There's less impulse to cling on to any particular experience.
So in what you just said, you used two phrases, letting go and holding on. What's the difference?
Okay, take a thought, or a series of thoughts, and is it clear to you that the space of awareness in which this series of thoughts is appearing is not is letting go of every thought as it appears? It's just letting the thought
Come and go.
come and go. It's, in other words, the natural condition of awareness is to let experience in and to let experience out, to let things come, to let things go. Now, continue taking a series of thoughts and just choose one of them, the current thought. Now, try to hold on to it.
Gotcha.
Have you, in fact, ever had an experience in your life that you were able to hold on to?
Not really, no. No way, but I used to think I could.
Yes, yes. But actually, exactly, we used to think we could, but actually when we look at our experience, we've never managed to hold on to a single experience in our lives. And this hasn't destroyed us, it hasn't diminished us. Experience is continually just passing through us and leaving us as we essentially are.
Yeah, I understand. Surrender was a difficult word to,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
it's because
It,
we try to make surrender an activity of the
right,
mind
right, right.
rather than realizing it is the natural condition of awareness.
Hmm. Thank you.
So did that make sense? Yeah. I think it also connects with what we were sharing in late, lately the workshop where we talked about three root poisons, and one of them being attachment, clinging to what we like, wanting it again and again, clinging to ideas, experiences, people, relationships, attachment. And then the second one was aversion, hatred, anger. This is all coming in aversion. So running away from what we don't like is aversion. Oh, I don't like this person, so you always run away. Oh, I don't like being this way, so you run away from that experience. So this running away, and it also creates anger, because whatever I don't like, I become angry at. So anger, aversion, hatred is part of the second root poison. And the third root poison, which being the most major of all, is ignorance. I don't know who I truly am. Ignorance of my true nature. And what Rupert Spira usually talks about, he talks about waking up to our true nature. So when I now take a stance as awareness, that I am this space of awareness in which thoughts can come and go, feelings can come and go, life experiences happen, go away, and people, relationships, they come and can go away. So when I take stance as awareness, then I see that I'm already surrendered, because awareness cannot cling on to any experience. It is impossible. Just like he was sharing, that choose one thought in your head and try to cling to it. And this is what we were discussing in using anger or worry as an object of meditation. So when we try to hold on to one experience, then we see that it's hard to do it. We can't do it because it scatters, it scatters away, goes back into emptiness. And then we have to really put lots of effort to kind of worry again. That, oh, I have to worry. Oh, I have to worry. I have to be angry. I have to be angry. And then you see that you again disperse the anger. So the true nature of all these things that arise in awareness is awareness itself. They come from awareness, they dissolve back in awareness. And when we take stance as awareness, it really makes us inwardly free. We realize that we actually do not have the capacity to cling to any experience. And that is why suffering comes when we try to cling on to either our own opinions, ideas, or people or relationships, opinions, whatever, or our own self images. Even then we experience a lot of suffering. So suffering is like a signal that we can use, that if I am now uh, sensing some suffering in me, what am I clinging to, what am I trying to hold on to? And definitely every time we will find something that we are clinging to. So yeah, just wanted to share that teaching, and keep sharing if there is anything in between, please. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo also talk about a central surrender and then a detailed surrender. Central surrender is just like a major part of my being is convinced that it's the best way forward to offer myself again and again to the divine, that I want to give my life to the divine work, to the universal work, to the work of higher intelligence. That central surrender arises in our life, and that the story does not end there, because an active process has to go on of becoming conscious of our habitual patterns. And whenever we see any habitual pattern coming up and we following its dictates, then something is required on our part, just to become conscious of it. So the light of consciousness has the power to take care of our habitual patterns, which really make us suffer a lot. And then through becoming conscious of these inner movements, a detailed surrender can ensue, a detailed process of surrender, that not only that I want to surrender, I'm actually collaborating with the divine, that I'm not working out of my old habitual patterns. And even if I do by chance, I become conscious of it and I offer it. So remembering and offering, and remembering and offering. And then Mother says, you will have to have the courage to choose for the highest and deepest, whatever the consequences. So in any situation in my life, now that I'm becoming more and more conscious, can I choose the highest possibility, the deepest possibility? This is where my free will comes in, that now I want to uh, have decisions in my life which are not just blind, ignorant, egoistic decisions. And then Mother also says that almost like a pendulum, we keep on moving. And for a long time, we have a feeling that there is an inner life that I have, and then there is an outer life that I have. So there is a kind of a gulf between these two lives. So like a pendulum, I keep on moving. Sometimes I have deep experiences, and sometimes I'm totally on the surface. And this is how we slowly walking on the path, we kind of bridge this gap, that the that it becomes a living which is a deep living at all levels, rather than either on the surface or inside. Very good in meditation, but when I'm interacting with people in workplace or relationship, then I'm totally blown out. So slowly we kind of bridge this gulf slowly with our experiences. So there is this exercise that we can do today, all of us. If you can have a paper and pen with you, and then we can share our reflections with each other. And there are these few questions that I've taken from the workbook that I was sharing. So just write down these questions for yourself and see whatever emerges. So the first question is, what does true surrender mean to me? It's your personal understanding of surrender. And let the answers emerge in the silence. What does true surrender mean to me? Second one is, what were the moments in my life when I came close to true surrender? So if you just, when you are going through the second question, again, close your eyes and place this question inwardly to yourself, and let those moments come up and resurface for you. What were those moments in my life when I came close to true surrender? Then the third one being, what can I do to make my surrender more true? So the personal effort on my part. What can I do to make my surrender more true? And how can I remind myself? How will I remind myself to live this out more actively rather than just being theory of surrender? How can I remind myself to live this more actively? So we will take a pause and write down, or maybe in shorthand you can write down your responses, and then we can share later. I'll just pause the recording for some time. So anyone who wants to go next? Yeah, Shamla ji, would you like to share?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
For the first question, that one. As far as I'm concerned, I feel that true surrender is placing my fear, my pain, or my thoughts, ideas about life, everything at mother's feet, and ask for strength and guidance. That is my, okay. And regarding the incident where I truly came nearer to mother is in 2010. It may be a little bit lengthy. It was an actual thing which I can never forget in my life. In 2010, I had gallbladder surgery. So actually, it was told that it's a very minor surgery. In one day, I can go off. Everything will be fine. But when I was on operation table, there was some misunderstanding among the doctors and anesthetist, and I was given just a minor dose of anesthesia. By that time, that pipe I was unable to go through my throat. So I was in severe pain. I can't even tell how much pain I was going through, but I was able to hear all the doctors' discussions, everything. And they were actually supposed to be 2 doctors, but 7 doctors came. It was a critical condition, and my mother and my son was waiting outside. So actually, I was under pain, and actually, I was worried about both of them because they were thinking that in half an hour I'll be coming out of the surgery room. But it was already 45 minutes. 1 hour was already passed away. At that time, I was just praying, Mother. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't ask her to reduce my pain. I just thought, okay, something I did, I'm suffering. That's fine. But please give me strength. That was the only word I was asking her. Mother, please give me strength. And it's really after 10-15 minutes time, I can clearly see Sri Aurobindo in a big frame like thing. I have a photograph, and with golden lining on his frame. He was laughing at me. And literally, I could feel that mother in her golden robe. There is a gold color robe which she wore, with her with a knife in her hand. She was standing beside me. I saw her. Then I went into this thing. After that, surgery happened, and it's a clear my self experience, and I can clearly say that mother has saved me, not doctors, definitely, because I was almost gone, gone case. So that's a practical experience for me. And so that was, I think, nearest thing of my surrender to mother. That's the nearest one. And I was taken care by her. So, and third point, I can't say how can I, but fourth one, what I feel is to remind myself of this instant. Because whenever I have experienced that love. After that, also a couple of times I had mother in my dreams giving something like stones or something like that to me. But this experience I can never forget. So I know that I actually when I eat also I say just mother. That word will come to me, mother. I'm going out, mother. I'll just doing that. I'll only say that word because I can't pray. I continuously can't concentrate like that. So I feel that recollecting that incident and always saying mother, maybe it ignites me for surrender, so that I can just feel that, okay, she'll take care. I'm going to do this. She'll guide or she'll take care. It's not only for me regarding that operation, but even in my work environment also. When I was in really critical situation where I couldn't know what would be the solution, how to handle that, I was just used to say, Mother, okay, guide me. And after some time, somehow I could finish that work. So I think these incidents will help me to keep on pushing myself to for surrender. I think.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for sharing. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Your sharing reminded me of once Dr. Anand Reddy in Pondicherry. Maybe some of us are aware of. He is the founder. I think at the moment he is the head of Sri Aurobindo Center for Advanced Research, Sakar in Pondicherry. And so he time to time he keeps on recounting his personal recollections with mother, because he has lived with mother when he was child, like a child, and for a long time. So he was telling in one of the talks that there was a young girl in Berlin, I guess, where he went for a talk, and she was sharing that I cannot somehow, I don't know how to surrender to the mother and how to connect to the mother. Tell me how to do it. And he shared exactly what you just were sharing, that um, he said that, okay, just like you go out of your house, you tell your real mother, that your biological mother, that mother, I'm going, right? You say that to the mother. So just like that, you say, mother, I'm going. You look at the photo of the mother, and or inwardly remember her and say that I'm going. And if you are going to meet a friend, mother, I'm going to meet a friend. So in every experience, whether you're going to even bathroom and having, whatever, brush your teeth or anything, wherever you are going, just take the mother, just like you shared, very simply, just mother. And it doesn't take anything, it's so simple. Mother has just given us a very shortcut, I would say, key. What can be shorter than this, that there is no mantra required to remember the mother? Just remember ma, and she's here. So that's
Seriously,
really,
Monica ji.
yeah.
Yeah, just one more thing I just
Please,
wanted to add.
please, yeah, please.
Even there was a phase in my life where if I go to temple also, I pray to all these goddesses. I like them, that everything, that aura, everything. I go to temples, but wherever I go, instead of praying that sloka or mantra, whatever that of that deity, only mother used to come. I stand in front of, for example, Shiva, mother. I mean, I used to say also, why I'm uttering mother instead of, actually, I should pray that God, right? Wherever, in whomever I'm friend. But still, only that mother, that syllable used to come. So, I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I think this devotion that you are sharing through your experiences, it really can take us through all the challenges and difficulties of life. Just this simple bhakti, simple devotion, with our simple, very little tools. They don't have to be complicated. In one of the teachings, Jetsunma Tenzing Palmo, somebody was asking her that I am a palliative care specialist, and what do I tell those people who are dying? Because I see them on deathbed, and they not all of them are spiritual. So how do you guide them? How do you guide them towards light? And she shared very simple two things, that either you just tell them to stick to the object of devotion, which in this case could be mother, or Hanumanji, or Sai Baba, whoever, it's all the images of divine only. So whoever you pray to, you stick to that image, especially going through those times where you are either here, neither there. And if to those of us who don't have an object of devotion, just to follow the light, she said, just follow the light, go towards the light. When the consciousness kind of lets go of the body, she asked that just follow the light. And it's really so simple, very simple. The part of devotion, bhakti, love is so uncomplicated. We don't need to read tons and tons of books about mother, just mother, and she's here. So that's really very powerful. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, Ekta, you want to share?
Yeah, so for me, true surrender means having it's the faith which comes with, for me, it means fearlessness, because when I have that kind of faith, I'm not afraid of progressing fearlessly, because you're just so utterly sure that you're going to be taken care of. So move ahead, keep moving ahead. So for me, surrender is actually it's loaded with action. It's loaded with moving forward. Because I think when I'm not in surrender, then I'm stagnant, then I'm stuck. When I'm in surrender, I'm always flowing and effortlessly. So the moments in my life, in fact, I thought of many. When I launched my current project, which started as a magazine, I was in complete state of surrender. There was no fear. The blueprint was in my mind, how the logo is going to look, the size and everything was just there. The blueprint was just there. I just had to do the action and to do it. And it's been going on like for so long, in that sense, in that state. And also when I travel alone, especially, I'm usually in a state of surrender, and I'm just letting things happen the way they happen, and they usually end out very beautiful. I just wrote yesterday about making a very difficult journey with very bad vision and having to walk a very long distance in the snow. And I was able to do it because I was in a complete state of surrender and everything was okay. Like I was taken care of. And today there was a very odd incident, just like an hour ago. And in this balcony, so there is this little candle holder. And I was doing something in the balcony and it slipped from the shelf. And that this thought came in my mind, just leaving it to God, that bas ab ye tera, like you take care of this now. Because anything can happen. It's made of glass and somebody can get hurt, or, it can, something can happen. But in my mind at that moment, it was just, this is yours now, like you take care of it. And the funny thing is, like, let me just show it to you. The funny thing is that it's made of glass. It didn't break. And I live on the third floor. And the guard brought it upstairs and it's just a little bit crooked. But otherwise it's okay, So it's like God got it, so, so I think that was a very interesting experience for me today. and yeah, what can I do to make the surrender more true? I thought about I should practice it because it's a practice. Like how today I just let it go in God's hands. So I think I need to practice that more. And for me, I say Hari Om. And for me, I have my Ishtadeva is Krishna. So I think I should practice it more. Jo teri marzi, like you said, as thou willest. And I need to do it more as a day-to-day activity and do it more times a day. Maybe if I'm cooking or maybe if I'm writing, and I just say, as you wish, as you wish, this is going to turn out, So maybe or as you will actually, this is going to turn out like that. And how do I remind myself? I was just thinking actually how I should do that. Maybe I should write it somewhere, and like once I remember going for this pranic healing class, and this lady said that when you're filling up your water filter, just make the shape of Om on it, so that the water that fills up is divine water. So I was thinking, maybe I can write Om before I start any activity, and just in my mind, just writing with my finger. So I was just trying to think of ways.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Again, I think that point comes up of invocation again and again, invocation in whatever little ways we have, personal, ways that we have. Yeah, that's really very powerful. And one thing which is coming up is that whenever, mostly as Shamla ji was sharing, as you were sharing, I think many a times we have to walk on almost razor's edge. Like you said, when you're traveling alone, now it's almost razor's edge. You're traveling alone and you have a certitude that you will be taken care of. Now, I think living in our homes, comforted and protected, that challenge is mostly missing. So it's very good to put ourselves in situations from time to time which are very challenging in nature, so that we remind ourselves of the divine presence also. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Birenji, please go ahead.
Yeah, for me, actually, surrender is about having the highest intent and working wholeheartedly towards it, and having faith that there is something above me which is guiding, and then accepting whatever comes out of it. Whether it's favorable or not, just accept it. That's one part of it. Um, Now, I don't know. There must be many times when I came close to true surrender, but uh, there was a time, especially in my childhood, which there was a very, very prolonged trauma which happened, and I didn't know how to come out of it, but I survived somehow. So maybe there was something which you know had to do with surrender. I don't know about it, but I've survived it. So that's a second part of it. And I think one way to practice is to be conscious and offer all the five senses to a higher cause. Reminding oneself, making conscious efforts to become more humble, more non-judgmental, more accepting, and practice seeing good in everything and being grateful. So, if I were to actually, look at how can you remind yourself, it is through practice and detachment, or what we might call abhyas and vairagya. Actually, so that's what I would think of.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. Mm. Yeah, I think this point of vairagya that you said is also quite relevant. And I relate it very much with the being disenchanted. Because when we know that the lasting contentment we are all looking for cannot be got from the fleeting experiences of life, then we can actually, as you said, offer all the five senses to higher work. And as mother says, that aimless life is a miserable life, she says. So we see that when, and she also, I think she continues and she says that on the quality of the aim will depend the quality of your life. So the higher the aim, even if it appears like a far-fetched something for me, the higher the aim, the more strength I keep on getting from within, and the more I can offer and offer and offer and continue the journey. Because then my little problems become very miniature in front of that high aim. It's not that my problems will go away, but they will become very, very trivial. For example, I often use this example with the people that imagine that you are just strolling around and a person comes and insults you, says some abusive remarks. It's quite probable that you indulge in kind of a interaction with him, and you say that why are you saying this, and whatever, maybe anger comes, and fighting may happen at times. But imagine now that you are crossing the same path, and now you have to catch a flight. You have a ticket for the flight in your hand. Now the same person comes and says something to you, but you hardly have any time. So you will ignore and you will attend to the higher cause. It's not that the person did not say, the outer circumstance is still the same, but it is nothing in front of what is the thing that you have to go for. So I think that's how, if we keep this offering ourselves in whatever little way possible, according to our own skills, talents, everybody has different combinations, permutation combinations. In whatever little way, if we can offer ourselves to the universe, to the people around us, how can I benefit you today, for example? I think then our own little problems become really, really miniature, and they don't have that much of grip on us, our own little anxieties and worries. So yeah, that really, really is very powerful. Keeping a high ideal and high aim in front of us, and work towards that, as you were all saying, that put effort, that get up every day and offer yourself to either a cause or even family or whatever, wherever you are, offer yourself. And in that, detachment also naturally comes, And also you know that I am doing this because of the joy of giving myself. I'm not doing this because I'm expecting something in result. That may happen, and if it happens, I'll take it as a prasad. But why I am doing this? Because for the joy of giving myself, because giving ourselves brings a lot of joy, to each one. So that can be really beautiful. So anything else, Lataji? Hello, you joined a bit late. We were just sharing our reflections on a few questions on surrender. What is true surrender for me, and how can I remind myself for continuous surrender?
No, I had actually lovely experiences with, I actually am a very staunch follower of Mother.
Yeah, please.
And yeah, I've had lovely experiences actually. Recent one is like I had gone for a painting exhibition, and I was just looking at the paintings, and then I wanted a painting of lotus. I wanted both white and red, the red one. So I came home and I was browsing, and that day, this All India magazine from Pondicherry. I came home and I opened it. To my surprise, there were 2 lotuses. I hope I can on my video. This is it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I just asked Mother, I want a painting. I want a painting of both the lotuses, and I could not get both together.
Oh.
Yeah. And I just in my mind, okay, and I just so when I opened the book, I was like in tears. I just showed it to my husband. He said, many instances have happened. And my husband was in the hospital in 95. And he was diagnosed with sugar, diabetes and all that. It was quite high. And he was in the ICU and all that. And he had some abscess in his leg. So there were 3 doctors fighting that they had to amputate his leg. So actually recently my mom had passed away. My dad had Parkinson's. So I felt I had no moral support. So I said, Mother, you are my only support. And believe me, I used to go attend to him. And I had 2 kids, small kids also. I used to attend to him in the hospital, come back. And whenever I used to play sincerely, Mother's blessing package used to be at home. And I was without writing anything, every time whenever I used to ask something, the Mother's blessings were at home. So I think there's nothing, no other than this. So that's why I'm a staunch believer of.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I think our experiences that we have from time to time, they are a beautiful practical proofs for the people who want proofs. That aspiring and being open to receiving grace works really, really well. Whether it can be measured by an instrument or not, it doesn't matter. But we know that this really, really, really opens us up and also makes life so beautiful. And that you aspire, you ask for something, and then there is a period of wait, and then you see it arrives. And there was some incident that I read from these red Indians that are there, the indigenous tribes, that they have so much of faith in the power of universe or higher intelligence that if they want to ask for something, like maybe the child is ill and they want some medicines to be supplied, so what they do is they just offer, like these shamans are also, I think, from these tribes, so they ask for it, like they ask the universe for it, and then they forget about it, and now they don't know how it's going to arrive, but the things arrive whenever they need it. So somebody comes, some foreigner comes to that area, and the medicines arrive if they really want it for the child. Maybe the child gets okay without the medicines, that's also possible. But so as I think Ekta was talking about this faith and fearlessness, that you have a certitude in you, that if I truly need it, it will arrive. No matter sooner, later, doesn't matter. It will arrive at its right point. And if it has not arrived, then I don't need it. Then I can survive without that. So how beautiful, really very powerful. Yeah. And I think I totally resonate with what you were sharing, Ekta, that with surrender comes this aspect of fearlessness in life. And Mother also shares that I think she shares that in the terms of people who become conscious of their psychic being, even to a little degree, doesn't matter. Whenever we touch this psychic aspect in us, we have a very sure sense of our immortality and a sense of hence fearlessness. Because if I know that I am not this body, thoughts, feelings, I am something far, far more than that, then definitely a fearlessness also comes through. That I'm not this bodily limited self that will die after the body disappears. And then with divine certitude and faith and believing in your intuitions, I think then fearlessness also comes to follow whatever is the inner call, whatever little guidance from time to time we get. Yeah. So beautiful. So there is something from the mother which I'll just put on the screen. I hope it's there. Yeah, okay. Wow. Okay, so there is something else that has popped up. I'll just put that on screen first from the mother, Sri Aurobindo. I think that aimless life is from the mother, but it doesn't matter. The two who are one, so we just have to focus on the quote. So this is an aimless life is always a troubled life. Every individual should have an aim, but do not forget that the quality of your aim will depend the quality of your life. So this is what we were talking, that the higher the aim, the more selfless the aim, the more better the quality of life becomes. Yeah, I'm coming. Give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Your aim should be high and wide, generous and disinterested. So I think this aspect of disinterestedness is very important. That I am not trying to self-aggrandize myself through whatever I am pursuing. The ego doesn't want fame and respect and name and all these worldly things. So whatever my aim is, I am following, it should be generous, like I want to offer myself to the world in this way or that way, and disinterested, that I don't have any personal interests of name, fame, gain through this calling that I'm pursuing. So it's a disinterested aim, and it also connects us back to getting disenchanted first from the life, material life, knowing that it cannot give you a lasting happiness, and hence I am responsible for my own happiness. Now, how can I offer myself to the world? So now that it comes is more coming in disinterested way. Now I'm not personally interested. So this will make your life precious to yourself and to others. I think we have many good examples of people uh, whose lives we have been witnessing, either through social media or maybe they are in touch with us. Many good examples where when people have offered themselves to some higher cause, their life has become precious for us. And we feel such a void when they leave, for example, because they contributed so heavily in some or the other field. Whatever your ideal, it cannot be perfectly realized unless you have realized perfection in yourself. I think the last line reminds me of Mother talking to Judith Tyberg, who was named Jyoti Priya by Mother. And Mother said that you already are conscious of your soul, whether you are aware or not. You have realized the psychic being. Now, whatever difficulties you encounter in doing the divine work, that is the corresponding thing that you have to work on in yourself. So imagine that even after this lady is working with her psychic presence, she is conscious of her divine calling. She's offered herself to the mother's work. And even then we do face difficulties, right? So mother says that whatever difficulties you see in the outer situations when you are doing my work is exactly the same thing that you have to realize in yourself. So the story of perfection still goes on and on and on. We don't have to stop. So this, and there was one thing more which I wanted to share. In the meantime, if anyone has any reflection, please go ahead. I'll just find that out. So there was a quote by the mother which says, never depend on anything. Yeah, got it. Got it. I think I had shared it in the workshop also, waking up. So I'm just putting it on. And it's good. I think we were talking of reminders, how to remind ourselves. So I think it's good to paste things here and there. Because whenever, just like Ekta was sharing that right om on the arrow, it really, helps and it works. And there has been research on water by a very famous Japanese, I think, scientist. And if he says that if you actually put a symbol and keep that glass for some time, the water crystals that develop out of that glass are more beautiful and harmonious in shape than the water kept in without any symbol. So it really matters when we are putting intentions and this bhava in the whatever we are doing. So yeah, here I think this is something which I have pasted on my wall too. From time to time, it's good to see and look at it when we bang our heads on the wall here and there. That mother said it. Why didn't I follow it? So mother says, never take the attitude of hoping for support. So from time to time, we cling to people in our life that yahan se support milega. Okay, maybe the workplace will give me support. It happens, we are human beings and we from time to time hope for support. It may or may not come, that a different matter. So she says, never take the attitude of hoping for support, help, comfort from anyone except the divine. So that aspiration, that divine, you are my backup, not only backup, that I am held in you, that aspiration is very alive. That is absolute. I have never, not once, met anyone, she says, who tried to cling to something to find a support. Usually we cling to people in our life and support there, someone doing yoga or someone who has been put into touch with yoga and who was not deceived. From time to time we are betrayed that I kind of banged upon this or that person who was my bestest friend, for example, but I was deceived. So mother says that I have not met anyone who has not been deceived. It breaks, it stops, one loses one's support. Then one says life is difficult. When we expect a support from a person and we don't get it, we say life is so difficult. It is not difficult, but one must know what one is doing. Never seek a support elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek satisfaction elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek the satisfaction of your needs in anyone else except the divine. Never for anything at all. All your needs can be satisfied only by the divine. All your weaknesses can be borne and healed only by the divine. He alone is capable of giving you what you need in everything, always. And if you try to find any satisfaction or support or help or joy, I think these last two lines are very important for us human beings. That if we try to find any satisfaction, any support or help or joy, or heaven knows what, in anyone else, so expecting from a particular person, expecting from a particular relationship, particular workplace, then mother says you will always fall on your nose one day, and that always hurts. Sometimes it hurts very much, and I feel very resonating with the last few lines, because I have had experiences where in our unconsciousness, ignorance, we again and again begin to expect, and divine is really kind that we are falling on our nose, we suffer, and then we come back to the divine for the support again. So I think this is something which I personally benefit from, and I've pasted it on my wall. And from time to time, when I become unconscious and expect or from people, and I get hurt, I look at it and laugh at myself. So yeah, just wanted to share this with all of you. Yeah. So any last reflections? Any last comments we can take, and then we can end? Okay, cool. So thank you in that sense. Thank you. I think we had a really very wide view of surrender through everyone's reflections today. So thank you very much for sharing all those. And we meet usually every Sunday at 3, same link. And on any Sunday, if you're free, you want to join, please join in with the same link.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye
Thank you so much for doing all.
bye. Thank you. Thank you for walking on the path too. Okay, bye bye.